Elon Musk is no longer Twitter's largest shareholder and says he's not sure if his takeover bid will be successful. They did a poison pill. Now, guys, if you were listening to my other Twitter this morning, I told you guys what I was doing. I was putting a bunch of puts against Twitter at the $50 mark because there was no way the board was going to be able to accept this offer, which means what? The stock would plummet, especially if Elon pulls his shares. But they did it even better for me. They pulled out the poison pill. And if you don't know what the poison pill is, it's like when you add more coins into cryptocurrency and you dilute the price and you bring the price way down. And when most people don't know what happens, it's kind of what they do to XRP and other projects out there to keep the price, level. Amazing. If you don't know about puts, you have to grab 100 stocks at $50. You have the option to sell them at that same price, and they're at $45, $5 per stock. There's 100 of them that I got on each one of my puts. You do the math. Should have been there, would have been amazing. But other than that, we appreciate you guys. Let's get into this entire process here and see what's going on. Thanks for joining us, and welcome to Crypto News Network. Close your eyes. So beautiful. Absolutely, guys, so beautiful. So here we are, the Crypto News Network, coming out at a super level here. Now, what we need to get into basically is the Elon Musk story. You out there? What you doing, man?
I am. You really want to know?
Haha. All right, so here's what's going on here, guys. Even better than what we even saw out there. Elon Musk, who has 9.2% stake in Twitter, is no longer the largest stakeholder. Vanguard Group said its fund now owns 10.3% stake, according to a recent SEC filing. Musk said on Thursday he's not sure if his $43 billion takeover for Twitter will be successful. Elon Musk has lost his position as the largest shareholder, and he attempts to buy the company at $43 billion. Now, the thing about it is Tesla and SpaceX boss said early in April he had to become Twitter's largest shareholder and having built a 9.2 stake in there. Now, what's crazy about this is the fact that here comes Vanguard. Right? I don't know if you guys are paying attention to what's going on here, but if you're watching the crypto network, if you're watching what they're doing here, the entire reset of everything that's happening, you better taxpayers' money going out there and buying all the real estate it can and raising the price of houses by 30% and outbidding other people who buy houses so that they could scoop up a bunch of territories and start charging rent to people, because basically they want to put you in a rental situation. Then they turn around and what they just give? $400 million into the USDC coin, making them the holder or the fund that will oversee the USDC coin. That's kind of crazy. That's another story we're going to put on Twitter. Make sure you're checking them all out. But this one we want to focus here because Vanguard is part of the entire purchasing processes that's going on out there. Guys, if you're not paying attention, this news and everything that's happening right here is also affecting the crypto industry and how important it is to have freedom of speech, give true information, move products that are for the people versus corporations. So I don't know if you guys know, but Elon Musk is building a lot of stuff that actually helps people and opens up the door for individuals versus corporations, right? So this is a battle for way more than a stupid little social media group, right? This is to show you and expose to you who's out there not wanting you to be successful as what we call retail investors. If you're not paying attention, you also are going to get kicked out of all staking platforms and getting paid interest from the crypto side, which we'll get into another story after this one. But that's also, you have to become accredited investor. There's a ton of stuff happening here. This is a huge deal. Now, the thing about this was making money on this was great this morning. I woke up, it took me about 45 minutes to make money on the puts that I put out, but this is insane news. Now, the thing about this is, taking a look at this, you have so much going on here. There's no way that they could actually accept the offer that fast because, first of all, board of directors who are part of a real big company have to take the time to make a decision based for the stockholders, meaning that what if the stock could be worth $75 eventually in the next couple of years? Are you doing the stockholders a favor if you sell out the company? Because they do have dividends, and especially if a man wants to take it private. So they had no choice to take the offer, but not only did they not take the offer, but they turned around and actually came out and did something unprecedented. Like literally came out and decided to put themselves in a position where they did what's called a poison pill, right? And basically what that is they come out and instead of addressing the offer or what's available to them as far as for the stock, they decided to come in with a insane situation where they are opting to create more stocks. And what it is when you have a whale or somebody comes in and they try to do what's called a corporate takeover, and they have a certain amount of stocks and they're valued at a certain level. What they do is they create more stocks to lower the price of the current stock so that it dilutes their value, which basically kind of puts the person in a pinch, right? Meaning that if you can take stocks and lower it by 5 to 7%, I mean, if somebody has 300 million in there and you turn around and you basically counter with what's called a poison pill, what you're essentially doing here is just adding stocks to a company to dilute the price and making it so that the whale can't actually back out without taking a loss. It's almost like punishment for jumping into the company because now you're stuck and you have to hold while they put more stocks out there, buying them time and giving an opportunity to look for other buyers. And if you want to make your money, you have to wait out a time frame of your hostile move, right? So basically here, Twitter unveiled a counterattack against Elon Musk Friday using a strategy invented to repel corporate raiders in an attempt to block a takeover bid by the world's richest person. The strategy, known as the poison pill, would flood the market with new shares if Mr. Musk or any other individual group working together bought 15% or more of Twitter shares. That would immediately reduce Mr. Musk's stake and make it significantly more difficult to buy up a sizable portion of the company. Musk currently owns more than 9% of the company. The goal is to force anyone trying to acquire the company to negotiate directly with the board. Right? So here, listen to this. The goal is to force anyone trying to acquire the company to negotiate directly with the board, because remember, Elon is asking them to take it to a shareholders vote, right? He wants to go around the board, and the board does not want to lose their positioning on being in control, because that's the board of directors. So investors rarely try to break through a poison pill, the threshold, right? Because according to securities experts, one said it would be financially ruins even for him. But Mr. Musk rarely aids to the precedent. So basically what they're saying is that this is a great idea to put this out here, but honestly, you're dealing with a guy who isn't a normal type of investor. So at that point, you don't know what he's going to counter with. Right? Because you're not dealing with just a raider or a corporate company that's trying to buy you out who's worth a little bit more than you or 20% more to you. He's the richest man in the world, right? So at that point, when you come down to it, it's just financials here. It gives him, so now what it does is Twitter said the mechanism would not stop the company from holding talks about a sale, but with any potential buyer. It would give it more time to negotiate a deal that offers a significant premium. The pill does not mean that the company is going to be independent forever. It said Pasquarella, a senior lecturer of the financial at Cornell University. It just means that they can effectively fend off Elon. So Musk, who's worth more than $250 billion and is the chief executive of Tesla, obviously announced his intention to acquire social media, making an unsolicited bid worth more than $40 billion. Now keep in mind, $40 billion for Twitter, right? He's worth $250 billion. He's offering 40. That's literally 20% of his assets. So if he wanted to go 30% of his assets and he owned Twitter, he could probably make Twitter doubled in the next 3 years. So honestly, he could easily go up another $40 billion to acquire Twitter and really put pressure on them to get it if he wanted it. And there would be nothing they could really do at that point. So stay tuned here, because I don't think he's going to give up this position. Yo, E, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you loud and clear.
So, I mean, like, thinking about that, so he's worth $250 billion. He's got $40 billion on the table, right? That's only 20% of what he's working with. I mean, another 20%, right? So that takes him down to 100. I mean, we're talking billions here. It takes him down to 200 billion. Or $170 billion to be exact, to double his offer. Like, literally could walk in here acquire another 50% of the company, right? And literally make himself the biggest holder of the entire project and essentially just buy it, just liquidate the board of directors anyways, right? Now, I don't know what would be the process. I mean, if you're Elon Musk and you're a tech guy, now to me, I say to myself, man, why don't we just build a new Twitter, right? Why bother when Elon Musk controls so many tweets on there? But then again, people who are on Twitter, they're already there. People don't like to move. It's just like, when people are in a neighborhood, they're there forever. They don't like to move around. So it's easier just to acquire the entire bunch of people and be able to send out one tweet about satellite from Starlink, right? So, I mean, saying a $40 billion offer, he could offer another $20 billion or buy up that spot.
Like, me and my friends were talking about this, man, and I was like, well, if you were Elon, what would you do, or what do you think about this? And we all came like almost to the same conclusion. This is also kind of weird, but we said, well, how many shares did he buy, and at how much did he buy them at? And then he announces that offer. What happened to the share? What happened to the share price when he announced that he would buy them up? What happened to the share price?
Oh, yeah.
Did it go up or did it go down?
Of course it went up.
Okay. And we're like, that sounds almost like he staged a pump and dump.
Well, he's definitely, like, at this point, that the pump and dumps, the Elon Musk pump and dumps are just kind of like, they're not even pump and dumps. They're just the power of his base. Like, Elon Musk is a self-efficient part of a civilian hedge fund. I mean, if you invest in Elon Musk, you will be successful.
Yeah. I don't think he did it for benefit to him, though.
Right.
I think he's doing it for us.
Right. So think about
he can say, hey, I buy this company out. You better go buy their shares because that thing's gonna go up.
Yeah.
If they didn't want me to buy, that's fine. People start selling, so you sell high.
Right.
I think he's doing it for the public, man, to tell you the truth.
I have to jump in here. I think, to be honest with you guys, that at this point, this is like throwing out the bait. He wanted to see how this was. You got to remember how he works. If you go back and you study the way he set up all these companies that he's established, okay, how he has failed with these companies and then turned around and blew them out of the water, I think he was testing the waters. I really do. To see what type of reaction, to see how far he can get. I think he can come up with a strategy and actually offer $100 billion. I know that sounds kind of outlandish, but the way Elon is not a person in a box. He thinks outside the box. He has gone broke multiple times and he doesn't care. That's his strategy. He's all in or not at all. So I think that in the near future, and I could be wrong, but I do think he will succeed in acquiring Twitter. We haven't heard he doesn't lose. Elon is very competitive. He does not lose. And I do think that he threw this bone out for several reasons. I pose a question to you guys. Number one, if the board of directors decided against it, can they take him to court? Can they, if he were to acquire it and he would have been successful, could they have rebutted and taken him to court? Number one. Number two, he wanted to see everything, the whole perspective on this. He's very calculating. He is very a step ahead, and he likes to see, people underestimate him sometimes, and he's used to failing. He embraces failure. This to him is not a failure. This was a stepping stone. This man will acquire Twitter.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
without a doubt.
I think the entire thing comes down to, at the end of the day, you have to understand that, to build a new, like for me, it's all about putting yourself in there and saying to yourself, like, okay, obviously if you own all these companies, the key to every business is marketing and sales, right? So you need social media platforms. So at the end of the day, why would you, how do you not have, how do you not get this type of platform, or what it would cost you to actually like go and build this platform versus just buying it, right? So
Exactly. But
that's,
if building it is, it's not the same.
well,
As you
yeah.
mentioned
Well, the
before.
problem is,
He already
I'm pushing
dominated.
it with this one.
yeah, the whole thing is this, right? It doesn't even matter about building it because you can build it. That's not the problem. The problem is it doesn't matter if you build something, will they come, right? Once people become into a spot and they're safe in a spot and they're already there and all their friends and family are there and they already migrated from Facebook to Instagram to Twitter. I mean, people get, it's almost like, you know how many times you buy cryptocurrencies and you got a Trust wallet and then you get a MetaMask and it's like, oh, I need a Phantom wallet. And you're like, you know what? No more wallets. Like at some point you don't want to download another app, right? And I think that at this point you can't keep creating these new social media outlets because people just don't want to keep moving there. What they want you to do is fix the social media outlets they have, right? So I think when you say to yourself, how much is, like, how many people on Twitter, right? How much is that traffic worth to a man who owns 4 companies, right? How much is that worth to a guy who's going to sell rides to the top of the atmosphere? A guy who's going to sell satellite all around the world? A guy who's selling the #1 electric car? A guy who's going to acquire more businesses? And then to speak on what he's talking about, obviously, this is just a testament to if he mentions your company, it's going to grow. Right now, he's at no risk. The beautiful thing about him and what he's doing is there's 2 things you guys said that are exactly right. One, him buying that stock isn't a downside because all he has to do is mention that he had the stock and it's going through the roof. Right. Secondly, on your point is he is testing the waters because he put him on a he came to them and he said a term that is not used inside of America or mostly inside of stocks. It's normally used on a term when you're buying something like real estate or an asset, right? Not a company. He said, this is my best and final offer, right? Basically, when you say something like that and you're a person like Elon Musk, you are informing them that you are telling them that this will be the option. When I come to you here, this will be your chance to talk to me as a board. Because once you deny this chance, I'm just going to go around you. Because when I look at it, he's worth $250 billion. He's already given Twitter 20% more than they need at $40 billion. So if he buys all the stock or just keeps going up, he can take another $20 billion and just buy up the entire company. Like for $60 billion, he can just buy the entire company out and then take it private. So he doesn't even need them to agree. He can hostile take over this entire company with his own money and still have $190 billion. Not to mention, while he's buying this company, everyone will start buying Twitter stock because they know it's going to be worth double. Okay, so it's like not knowing. Like, do you guys remember when Microsoft bought LinkedIn? Right. So yeah, Microsoft bought LinkedIn in 2016. Right. Do you know how much LinkedIn was making in 2016 per year revenue? Right, it was making.
No, I'm not sure.
So it was making, I think, around $2 billion or something like that, 200 million, something like that, right? But it's now making 4 times what it was making in the last 4 years. So they have successfully taken a company like LinkedIn, and Microsoft has 4x their profits, right? So let's see. So when you have that all set up there, you got to realize that if Elon Musk takes over Twitter, that stock will double. So it doesn't. Who cares if he has to put $60 billion in? It'll be worth $100 billion in a year. He's exactly. Not. That's where he's not losing this position. That's where people have to understand. Like, he's coming to them, and all they did was putting out a poison pill. Right. That's kind of like the last resort of what you want to do as a company. That's what you do to kind of fend off. You ever see the movie Wall Street? And the guys would dig in. What do they always say? Buy us 10% of the company, and let's see if the books are cooked. Like, this is simple strategy that's been around for 100 years, just like learning how to trade against the Wyckoff charts of accumulation and distribution. It's a thing that everyone does. So having him come in here and really just do this by a very simple strategy. It just, to me, it's like they had no choice. Like I bought puts this morning at stock at $49, basically saying at any time, no matter where the stock is, I can sell it for $49. I knew the stock was going to fall. I didn't know it was fall like instantly. Like it was fantastic because you have to get 100 stocks at a time. But the fact is that the board cannot accept that offer because they're a real board, and that would be them selling out the stockholders of the company without having, you know, the stockholders vote on it. And they don't want the stockholders to vote on it because if you're a stockholder, you know Elon Musk is going to drive the stock up if he's buying the company. So you know you're going to get you're going to get $54, maybe even $60. You're going to be able to sell out, and then he's taking the company private. Why? Because he doesn't need anyone else to be involved in the company, because if you have a private company that you're selling to, you know, investors on that side, how many people want to be involved with Elon Musk and his own social media brand? Everybody, right? So I mean, that's what's so interesting about this.
He came in with the attitude of saying, "Listen, guys, this is an amicable offer. I am coming in good faith. This is what I want to do. This is my plan." And knowing that it was going to be rejected because he knows. And I think that now, like you said, his game just changed. So, like I said, his business strategies and the way he works, he's very tenacious. He will continue. If Twitter is what he wants, he will acquire it. And as you mentioned, it makes complete sense. This is exactly what he needs to 3x, 4x his companies.
Absolutely. I mean, exactly. Absolutely. I mean, it just makes it say to yourself, like, it just means every one of his other companies are going to be worth more money. Right?
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's an asset. So that's really where there's a no-brainer here. He's going to acquire this company. And the board, I mean, offering more shares, you really can't dilute a man he's offering you $40 billion, then it's 20% of his income. Like you're not going to dilute him with, you know, a poison pill. I mean, he's barely scratching the surface here. Like he could just buy up all those shares, and you just gave him an opportunity to swipe up shares at a cheaper price and get more percentage of the company. Right? You understand what the poison pill is? The poison pill is they printed a bunch of they're going to print more shares, and they're cheaper because they're printing more shares. So now that it's almost like cost average buying for Elon Musk. So now the stock that he bought, you just made you made the next stock that he had to buy to acquire the company even cheaper.
And you know what? I wouldn't even be surprised. You mentioned a term that he used, and I will tell you this: he's treating this as an acquirement, just like you said, real estate. I would not be surprised that he changes this game and he turns around and now he offers below what he offered, like a hostile takeover.
Absolutely.
Like for real. Because, and I could see it coming. Like I said, he will not stop. I do see him owning like Twitter maybe within the next 6 months.
I mean, you have to understand, like
he has to come up with something pretty outlandish for him not to find a way around to not buy it, not to acquire it.
I mean, if you're a stockholder and he offered you went from $45 to $54, and they didn't even let you decide on it, and then all of a sudden he starts pushing your stock price down, you feel like you're losing money, right? It's the fear of loss, right? And then those people are going to go after the board because now they're putting their money in jeopardy. So it doesn't matter what the board says because now they're at risk. And then if he pulls out of his stocks, right? You think he cares if he loses 3% on 40 on the whatever he put in? He doesn't care. He can write that off in taxes. Doesn't even matter. Right? But what it does to their company is takes their stock down to $35. People start panicking, maybe even down to 30, and then he comes in and buys 40% of the stock at $30 instead of 50. Right?
So I'm saying he's staging it like that's why he says this
a pump and dump.
Final offer.
Yeah, it's a pump and dump.
That's why he made it very clear. This is my final offer.
Right. Don't say I didn't tell you. Is basically what's going on there. I mean that is kind of like the moment, and that's what everyone has to kind of understand is that that's the moment they're in. They're in the moment of this is the offer. Like this is it,
Man's
right?
gonna have his own network, his own network for data to travel, his own marketing platform, his own amount of followers throughout.
Yeah, I mean it's brilliant. I mean at the end of the day, you have to say to yourself, like, you know, you have all this going on, and it's like it's perfect for him as a company because no matter what he does, at the end of the day, this company basically does everything he needs to have done for every one of his other companies, right? So you got to just say, you know, at the end of the day, it's a win. Doesn't matter. Doesn't
I
matter.
want to see his next move. I'm
His
just interested to see what his next move is.
His next move is to tell them to make sure they put this to a shareholder vote. And if they refuse, his next move is to increase his position to force them to create those stocks. The moment they create those stocks, he will dump his stock, which will then make their stock fall 30%, right?
Yeah.
People will then panic and sell even more because they realize what just happened. And then he will come in and buy the stock at a 40%, 30% discount, right? You know, that's game.
Because he's already profiting at the price it's at right now. He's great profiting.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying. So it doesn't matter what time he dumps it at. He's gonna dump it for a profit.
He's gonna dump.
Right. And the profit
Panic.
that he'll make is the amount that he's willing to pay them. He's gonna profit that, and then when he dumps, everybody else is gonna dump. And what's he gonna do? He's gonna come back, and with the profits he just made that he would offer them, he's gonna buy that amount in shares again, and then it's gonna have his position a lot bigger.
That's why I'm saying this guy is not going to lose. Every single move, it's like a chess game. Every single move
he's playing chess with them, man.
was premeditated. He knew the moves. He knew what was going to happen, and he was ready.
What's that song? Every move I make, every step.
You go sing. You're not right.
That is where we're at, guys. But that's kind of like breaking it down. That's what's happening out there. And just so you guys know a little bit of what we're saying here, I pulled up the Microsoft pickup here, and basically Microsoft picked it up $26 billion. The LinkedIn at $196 per share. 3 years later, we take a look at it, and what we have is quietly, and this is not over the last 2 years, because the last 2 years it actually went up. LinkedIn's user base in the first 3 years had grown nearly 50%, from roughly 433 million users to 645. The revenue has also been on the rise in the fiscal year recently ended. LinkedIn generated, they went from $2 billion to $6.8 billion in revenue, 28% increase from a year before. So, I mean, if Microsoft can do this with LinkedIn, I mean, just imagine what can happen if, you know, Elon Musk picks up Twitter. Like, you guys have to understand the financials behind the financials. So look at what, and LinkedIn is not even close to what Twitter can do. So if they can do a 30% increase on LinkedIn, could you imagine a 60% increase on Twitter?
And the data
Makes perfect sense on everything that's like, you know, what's supposed to be there. So there we go. There we have, guys. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to cover this the entire time. We're going to have some more articles. We're going to cover more articles there. Appreciate you guys tuning in right here. The Crypto News Network. I obviously appreciate E coming in. Moon, how you doing, Moon? Thanks for coming in, Moon.
What's up? You got it.
We will cover more stories. And yeah, we got some other stories we got to cover. We got to jump into this BlackRock thing. So make sure you guys are checking out all the stories. There's a lot going on in the crypto world as well. It's very important to make sure that you're paying attention to what's going on, because it is absolutely insane out there. Till next time, guys.